You are watching the Elevation Mentor Show, and today I have a very special guest, Lavonne. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I'm going to start out by having you just give us a brief background about yourself.
Awesome. So, my name is Lavonee Idlette. I am from Hampton, Virginia originally, but I grew up no, other way around. I live in Miami, Florida. I grew up in Hampton, Virginia. I moved to South Florida to go to graduate school after going to Hampton University. Shout out to the real HU. Where I was a track and field athlete, and I moved here to pursue professional athletics and go to graduate school. And from there, I went to one Olympics and five world championships for track and field. And while going to business school and law school, and have turned that into a bunch of businesses that I have either started or bought and sold at this point that mostly are in the real estate and financial services space. And I'm just super advocate of economic development and things that empower the youth to get into financial services and the different aspects of the law.
Okay, so that's real interesting. So, Olympian, SEC attorney, and then several different businesses. Um, can you explain what an SEC attorney is? Because that's a big deal.
Yeah, so as a securities attorney focuses on the sale of securities, um, which is regulated by the SEC, which most people know as the SEC, but it's the Securities and Exchange Commission. And what we do is make sure that when you are a person who wants to raise capital from people who are not going to be inside of your business, that you're doing it compliantly and safely, and not misleading people and all of that kind of stuff, but also that um, the SEC is sort of like the IRS. You don't, they're not going to give you all the rules. So you need a person who's like an advocate who knows what they're doing that can protect you from them having full control to like freeze your account. So um, I'm super passionate about people having access to capital, but also having opportunities to invest. And so, what I do is help people who want to raise capital, but also help people who want to allocate capital to those people um, know how to do that safely and diligently.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. And I see your beautiful daughter down there. Um, I like the fact that you are a businesswoman and you have a family. So what's your name?
You gonna say my name is Riley True, and I'm a business too.
Okay. Levon, how did you get into the becoming an SEC attorney?
So in when I was in business, no. So when I was in undergrad, I changed my major 7 times and ended up in the School of Business and Finance. And I thought that what I wanted to be was just like a huge hedge fund manager. From there, so that's when I sort of got introduced to what the SEC was and all of that. But I ended up going to law school because of my business law professor in undergrad, and then being a part of a family that's in real estate, but had never taken money from outside parties. So I got to expose my family to like what it looked like to do bigger deals with other people. And I just had a mentor take me to a conference and like expose me to what the rest of the world was doing, to buy bigger buildings and bigger businesses. And it took me from being like solely focused on like commercial real estate and transactions and estate type stuff to being almost wholly focused on securities after that, because the exposure sort of blew my mind, where I used to just think, because the way that we were doing deals my whole life was, we have money, we saved it, we make money doing something, and then you take that money and you put it into an asset. And then everybody else saying, no, 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 you need securities so that you can like have money from other people and do it 10 times faster. And I'm like, mind blown. I have to know everything about it, and like went down a rabbit hole.
Okay. You talked about what other people are doing. So, like, just kind of tell us what are they doing to like grow their wealth and to keep it.
Yeah, so most people think about transactions from a what you can do by yourself sort of scenario. Then there are like the people who have been exposed to the way the banking system works and securities and all of that. And what they're doing is creating these opportunities where they see value that can be shared between multiple people. And then they're setting up these documents, which are called subscription agreements, and allowing people to participate so that they can buy something that's $1 billion or $100 million. And it's allowing them to not only participate but allow others to participate and get phenomenal returns. So it's a it's something that people on Wall Street know a lot about, but if you aren't a person who like was in finance or came up in the investment banking space, most people have never heard of it. And they just think people are a billionaire buying $1 billion property, and it's not how the world really works.
Okay. All right. Um, I'm just curious for someone who is brand new and they would like to start doing what the rest of the world is doing, what would be their first step?
So a first step is if it depends where you're starting from. If you have no capital but lots of time, you should focus on finding great deals and then looking up people who have done that thing and becoming partners with them, and they'll help you through the process of raising the capital and doing the things. But if you are a person who has capital and not a lot of time, you should find the types of people who are doing these opportunities already and partner with them and bring them some capital. And have them and do it with the intention of saying you don't just want to give them capital, you want to know what's going on. You want to learn so that in the future you may want to also be a sponsor of these deals, not just a participant as a limited partner.
Okay. And before you partner with anyone, you should have an attorney, right?
Before you partner with anybody, you should have an attorney and you should do a background check and you should do due diligence on them, because everything sounds good, especially if you're new to a space because you don't know a lot about it. But also, you know, uh, for anybody who has ever followed me on any social media platform, I always say, in God we trust, everybody else has to be verified and have an agreement. So we don't trust people just off blind faith. We do background and want to have agreements in place before you do any type of partnering, because, everything's sweet when it's sweet, but when it's not.
Yeah, and I heard of some people like when it goes bad, the SEC will come after you. Those kind of
Yeah,
things.
exactly. And so that's why a lot of people prefer to just be limited partners, because when you're a limited partner, even when they've done something bad, it doesn't fall on you at all. But you have unlimited liability if you are a general partner, which means an actual partner in the deal, meaning you make decisions for that deal. So if the person that you partner with is committing fraud, although you may not be a part of the fraud, you'll have to appear in court and all of that kind of stuff, and just like sort of focus on clearing your name.
I hear you. Okay, so you put the agreements together that are necessary for people to raise capital. What kind of other things do you do? Do you do like trusts and things like that?
Yeah. So what I my my firm's main focus is a total wealth plan, which includes privacy, meaning taking your name out of public records and things of that nature off of the internet, asset protection, which includes trust, holding companies, the way that your life and your entities are structured, um, from liability and mistakes and all of that, and then raising capital, allocating capital, and then being an abundant giver, which means that, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you make if you are not a part of giving back to society, more than likely you're going to be an unhappy person. So we focus on all five of those like pillars, um, and help people build an enterprise system around them.
Okay. I'm curious, for a trust, like before you get to that syndication, like say you're not doing a syndication, just doing regular real estate.
Mhm.
So if you put your house in a trust, can you still get a HELOC?
So it depends on how you, um, it depends what you're saying.
Oh,
So what I mean by that is, can you get a line of credit against a property? Of course. Um, a trust that is an irrevocable trust that you do not own, but you control because you're a trustee, has its own EIN number, has its own credit. It can do business just like any other entity, like an LLC or whatever. So, yes, you can get a line of credit. A HELOC, um, specifically means home equity line of credit, which is generally an owner occupied property type. And so the only way that you'll be able to get that specific type of line of credit is you'd have to be one of the beneficiaries on a revocable trust. And a
o-
revocable trust uses your social security number. So it's your credit, your everything. But its protection is mainly for privacy. And then like if you passed away, it would go to the property would go to the trust, other beneficiaries without having to go through probate.
okay. Can you briefly explain the trust setup? Like, do you ask for information about debt? Like some people may be ashamed of their debt and things like that.
Yeah. So what I tell people all the time is like lives and you shouldn't be ashamed of anything. And like the number one person that you should be able to be the most transparent with is your attorney, the person who's setting up your things.
Mhm.
So we ask for like the most information ever. Like the questionnaire is literally like, what have you been doing over the course of your life? Do you got any side kids? Like all kinds of stuff, right? And so um and so knowing those things helps you navigate what a plan is, what the plan will be. Um, including that if you want a irrevocable trust that you nope you can never change after it's created. That's why it's called irrevocable. Um, what should go in there and what should go into a revocable trust because you want to change who the beneficiaries are or the terms inside of it over time.
Okay. What states do you offer your services in?
So we operate in all 50 of the contiguous United States. And we also work with Canadians.
Okay.
Hmm.
So talking about, okay, I'm gonna go from love. Just two questions.
Okay.
So, are you single or married?
Married.
Okay. Can you tell us one lesson that you have learned about love or money that could help somebody else?
Okay. I'm gonna give you two separate things. So about love is that the most important part of love is grace. That like people are going through different things at different parts of their life, and that you shouldn't take how they are behaving personally because more than likely they're just not ready or mentally prepared to share it with you in a way that like makes it make sense in the moment. So just give them some grace, some time, some love, extra love. Um, and then in terms of money, my only advice is focus on one thing that can become your cash machine, which means something that you do really well. Focus on it and make that the driver that can invest in things and as fast as possible free yourself from all things that do not make your life better. And what I mean by that is I get it. Some people like cutting grass because of like, is there like mental clarity thing? But if it's not your mental clarity and you're just doing it because it's a chore, the focus should be get to as much money as possible so that you can take those sorts of activities off of your plate.
Okay, I hear you. So for love, have grace.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not easy. Uh, money, focus on one thing.
Yes,
That's not easy either.
I know. And I and so like being in business for a long time, what I realized is, everybody has a million ideas and you think like you the hardest thing to do in business is realizing that cutting off a nice income stream will make that other income stream 10 times better or triple. So it's literally it's a hard no to do or to like just stop, but it'll be worth it on the other side of like the focus. So you just gotta be like, okay, I'm not gonna start another company. I am not gonna add another product. I am not gonna do anything else. I am going to figure out how to maximize this one thing that I do well already, and I have an unfair advantage.
I hear you. And so I like the fact that you're doing it all and we're looking at it right now. Like we see your family and then you are an accomplished SEC attorney, Olympian, several businesses. Um, let's see. One question. Can you name a favorite book you might have?
Ooh, I got a bunch, but okay. So I'm gonna give you two that like are really. I read them every year. One is Outwitting the Devil, which is by Napoleon Hill, who also wrote Think and Grow Rich, which is a good book as well. And then the one that I share with people the most now is a book called How to Make $1 Million an Hour by Les Leopold. And it just exposes why being on the other side of finance is a great business.
How to Make $1 Million an Hour.
Hmm.
Who's that by again?
Les Leopold.
Les Leopold. I've heard of Outwitting the Devil. I didn't read that though. And then I heard of Think and Grow Rich. But
Yes, it's a really good book. But to summarize for the TLDR people who's like, too long, I ain't gonna read it. It basically is you outwit the devil by realizing that fear isn't real and fear is the playground of the devil and it's stopping you from being great.
okay, I like that. Do you think it's really fear or it's laziness or a combination?
I think it's mostly fear that leads to inactivity and then like people being sort of mentally beat down to not doing things and then become lazy. But most people's fear is so ingrained and taught and mainly from how you were raised and like how you were chastised and like worrying about what other people are going to believe and all that kind of stuff. So I don't let no adults chastise our kids for making mistakes, which I think is the number one thing that stops people from trying because they're so worried about getting it perfect. And I'm like, no, 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 you have to fail. Like it's just a part of it. Literally, I ran track for 20 years and I fell so many times over those hurdles. But at the end of the day, if you don't fall, you'll never be great because you're not pushing the limit.
What's the limit? I hear you. Um, let's see, where can people reach you if they would like to contact you?
Yeah, so you can either find me on any social media platform. You can just look up my name, Lavonee Idlette. The easiest way for me to actually like see your message though is on LinkedIn. Um, but on Instagram, I do a lot of like content that's about business, family relationships, just building a like strong family on Instagram. And my name is La La Hurdles too. If you are looking to get any of those types of services, whether it's taking your name off the internet or like getting a new trust set up, you will go to Be Wiser, b3xwiser.com.
Okay. And then the last question, did you have any last words for people who are watching that are trying to juggle business and family?
Um, okay. So my last most important words, stop procrastinating because procrastinators are selfish. And it's not because you are not going to get the things done, is that when you wait until the last minute, now you're stressed out to get it done and your family must suffer because now you're not going to give them no attention because you have to like lean in and focus. If you've just done it in advance, you could step by step deal with both. So make a plan, execute the plan, don't wait until the last minute, and compartmentalize, I think, is important as well. Um, there's just got to be time when you set the phone down and just like talk to your family.
Okay. Stop procrastinating.
Yes.
Plan. And then you're gonna have to shut it down and talk. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Well, it sounds good, Lavonne. Thank you so much for being on the show. It was great
Thank you
having
so
you.
much for having me.
All right. Nice meeting you, Riley.
She turned around like, who knows my name? You gonna say bye bye? Say bye bye. Say bye bye. Oh, take that balloon out your mouth. Say bye bye. Say bye bye. You don't want to say bye. Say bye. All right.
Meeting you, Riley. You're beautiful.
Say thank you. Say, I'm only 1 year old, but I'm gonna terrorize the place.
All right, Lavonne, it was good having you.
All right. Thank you.